Welcome back everyone to yet another episode of Kaiju Customs, and this time we are customizing Zeppandon. So this custom is just a simple repaint. I got a few people asking me if I was planning on customizing Zeppandon since, his base paint job is kind of lackluster, so to say. And I thought about it for a while, and I'm still not sure if I'll use Zeppandon in a video at some point, but I figured I would just have a little fun and do a quick repaint of Zeppandon. So starting off, I basically have a slightly thin gold paint that I use to go over all of the spikes on Zeppandon's body. If you look at the suit, each and every single one of those tiny little spikes on Zeppandon is covered with a little bit of yellowish gold and orange at the very tip. And because this gold paint that I was using to paint these spikes was a little bit runny and thin, essentially, since it was so thin, it didn't completely cover the spike and gave a lot of texture to the gold, so to say. While I was covering all these spikes on Zeppandon's body with this gold, I also took that same gold and completely painted the claws on the hands and feet of Zeppandon. On the base figure, these claws are only painted on about one side, so I essentially took that paint and finished the job on the other side. Once that was finished up, I flipped over the figure, took some white paint, and finished painting over the part of Zeton that is on Zeppandon's tail, the little white ridgy part for the first half or so of his tail. That took a couple coats of white paint in order to fully make it white, but that was worth it in the end because it looks pretty good. And while I was doing that, I also painted the back part of Zeppandon, which is part of Zeton, I believe, with a couple different shades of gray, and shaded all that and did all that good stuff. Then I flipped the figure back over and began to work on Maga Orochi's tail. So this is the third time that I've had to paint a part of Orochi like this, but same drill as with the other two Maga Orochi customs that I've done. I painted the entire tail a dark crimson color, then took an even darker crimson red and painted in between all the ridges and did a lot of shading. And then I took that same gold that I had been using for all the spikes on Zeppandon's main body and used that to paint on Maga Orochi's tail spikes and all that good stuff. And in addition, once all that was done, I took a bit of tan, flesh tone kind of color and colored in the rest of the tail. Zeppandon's tail, from what I can tell, there's not too many shots where you can see the underside of it in the actual show, but on the figure at least what it looks like is the part of Zeton is sort of merging with Maga Orochi's tail, so I sort of took that to the next level and had the white part of Zeton fused together sort of with the tan part of Maga Orochi's tail. And then once that was done, I took that same dark red that I was using to shade the parts of Maga Orochi's tail and use that to give a bit of shading to the main part of the body, just for a bit of variety's sake, essentially. And it makes the figure look a lot more visually interesting because you're not just looking at this one base red color with yellow spikes everywhere. There's all sorts of different shades of red in there, which looks really good. Then I also took some light gray paint and did a tiny bit of shading on all of Zeton's white parts just to make those look a little bit more realistic as well. And then on the chest and face, I took a couple different shades of gray and colored in the various areas that looked to be different on the suit. I had a couple of reference pictures up on my phone, and there's a couple parts on the suit that looked to be lighter or darker grays and all that kind of stuff. But that finished off Zeppandon, basically. Just a really quick, fun custom to make. Again, I don't know if I'll ever end up using Zeppandon in a video, but if I do, I've got this neat little custom that looks a lot more accurate to the suit. Zeppandon's one of my favorite fusion kaijus thus far, out of the very few that we know of so far. But I really like him nonetheless, and I'm pretty happy with how this custom turned out. There's just a couple things that I wish I could have done better, like I wanted to try and color the teeth on his mouth, the little fangs that are showing, but I really didn't want to accidentally smear paint everywhere all over the face and stuff. I messed that up because those fangs are very small, so yeah. And it also would have been cool to make the parts of Zeton that glow a little bit more translucent and stuff, so to say, kind of like they are on the figure arts Zeton, so to say. But I don't have any real good way of doing that right now. But other than that, I think Zeppandon turned out really cool. And I don't know what the next Kaiju Customs will be. Could be Thunder Killer, might be Skull Gamora. I don't know, I'm not sure if I want to do Skull Gamora yet. But yeah, that's it for now. And I'll see you guys here next time with whatever it is that I have to offer.